there, welcome to That Dang Dad. My name is Phil, and I take pop songs too seriously. So my day job is as a digital marketing manager, and part of my marketing training and my managerial training is in effective communications. And there's an area that I think a lot of people struggle to communicate effectively in, and that would be in the area of apologies. I think you see this a lot when celebrities or politicians make a little boo-boo and they have to do a public apology. And I think they're always awful. They always sound like they were written by a committee of like 35 white guys with MBAs, constructed in a lab. They never sound authentic or sincere. It's always like, I deeply regret the pain that my actions have caused others. People who know me know that I am not a racist person and that this was a heated gaming moment taken out of context. I mean, it's just awful. And I was thinking about this when I was listening to some of my music, and one of my favorite all-time pop songs came on, and that would be Apology Song by the Decemberists. And as a communications professional, I would like to lead us in a little critique of the apology in Apology Song. So let's get started. Looking at the opening here, I think the opening is really solid. I think it communicates the bad news directly, and it kind of sets the stage and begins to take ownership. So I think right off the bat, super strong opening. I love it. Let's continue. So moving on to the second kind of stanza here, I think it's always great to express genuine contrition when you screw up. And I think this is a much stronger statement than the stuff that you usually get, which is like, I deeply regret the harm that I've caused. Regret is one thing, and we all have our regrets, but I really like what the songwriter says when he says, I spent all morning grieving. I think grief is like on a totally other level than regret, and I think it's important and honorable that somebody would grieve knowing that they've caused such a grievous harm. And I really like that the narrator indicates that all the, their mutual friends are saying like, oh, it's not that bad, he'll forgive you, but that the narrator doesn't feel like they are deserving of getting off the hook easily. I think that's really nice. I think it's a really classy thing. So let's keep going. So this is the part of the apology where I start to have some issues. And I think there's lots that I like about this part. I think it's valid to explain what happened, to give a clear accounting when a breach has occurred. Here's the sequence of events that has happened. I think especially when like a crime has been committed or something like that, people want to know what really happened out there. And I think that's good. But I think starting off with I meant her no harm is irrelevant. I mean, it's irrelevant what you meant to do. And, to be honest, like, of course you didn't mean to. If you had meant to hurt somebody, if you had meant to cause harm, like, we'd be talking about something entirely different than sort of a breach between friends. So I think a good apology very rarely needs to explicitly state, I didn't mean to do this, I didn't mean to hurt you. I can see there being some situations in which you need to clarify your motives, like, what did you think you were trying to do here? And so I think if there's a situation where you really feel, and really, if you're writing your own apology, really be honest with yourself. Are your motives in question, or is your judgment in question? Are your actions in question? But if you really feel like your motives are in question, then yes, explain yourself, but be short on your motives and be long on your ownership of your actions, because that's what we're actually upset with, is the thing that you did. Okay, so I strongly object to this part of the apology, and I'll tell you why. I think in the context of the harm that's been done here, this whole stanza is irrelevant. I think it's trying to get time off for good behavior in a preemptive way, like, you know, well, I did a lot of good things before I did the bad thing. Like, imagine if you wrecked someone's car while you were driving drunk, and you were like, well, think of all the times that I didn't drive drunk, and I think you'll find that actually in the balance. And it's like, no one cares. Like, you did the bad thing that hurt somebody now. Nobody cares what you used to do or started to do that was good because you did the bad thing. So if I was giving you advice when writing this apology, I would cut this entire part out. I think it's completely inappropriate for the apology. So fortunately for this apology, I love the final stanza, and I think it is crucial. I think it is such a strong closer, and I think it does a really important thing in any apology. You know, the narrator is sort of speculating as to what they think happened, but what they're really doing is saying, I understand the gravity of what I have done. I understand the horror of the breach that I've committed. You know, it's not just like, oh, I'm sorry some bad things happened to you. Like, they really go down a road. Like, man, your bike's probably at the bottom of a pond after being abused by some douchebag or whatever. And, you know, I really like that as they are speculating about all the bad things that this third party did, they still locate that in their own carelessness. You know, if you were kind of rearranging the stanza, it would say, I was so careless that I allowed some dirtbag to ruin something so good. I mean, I love that final couplet, because the narrator is saying, my carelessness took your poor Madeline away. I mean, that is true ownership. You know, especially because, you know, a crime was committed that shouldn't have happened, but it was the narrator's carelessness that allowed that crime to happen. And I just think that is just such an effective way to apologize. I think that is the classiest apology that I can think of. So supposedly this song refers to an actual event that happened. I guess whoever wrote the song literally did leave their friend's bike out and it got stolen while they were away. And I believe the songwriter actually wrote them a song and left it on their answering machine as, you know, as a form of apology. So, you know, I don't know if Stephen actually forgave the songwriter, but I hope that they did, because I think this is, like I said, a truly effective and sincere apology, and I just love it. So what do you think about all that? How do you feel when you hear a politician or a celebrity say, I deeply regret the pain that I've caused, or, you know, I never intended to cause harm? Does that sound sincere to you, or does that sound like, you know, nonsense boilerplate? Let me know in the comments down below. And anyway, just appreciate you watching. Shoot me a like or subscription if you like what you see. I know you have a lot of options for YouTube content, and it means a lot that you've chosen to consume mine. So thanks again, and good night.